Hey everybody, I'm filming this intro after the fact. This video we're going to take a look at how I solved a developing or potential problem with the 2020 carbon fiber track pack. When Ford installed these wings on the back on the trunk lid, they just drilled straight through, after the car was painted, so there's raw steel holes underneath the wing mounts. And the way the wing mounts are designed, they trap water in there. So you're going to see in this video the water that comes out of my wing mounts, and then what I do to go about fixing this so it doesn't become an issue in the future with, corrosion. So here we go on the journey. Thanks for watching. I'm going to start by removing the wing. So we got two fasteners on each side. And if you already have your owner's kit, there are some tools in there just for the job. I got the 4 small machine screws or small bolts out. They use a Allen head. Like I said, the tool's in the owner's kit there. So this wing is just sitting here on the mount. Off it comes. It's super light. Got some towels down on the floor to protect it. And there we go. First we'll take a look over here at the wing. So there's the wing on the floor, and now let's talk about the problem. So these mounts here, which are carbon fiber mounts, are mounted to the trunk lid. There is a retainer on the back side here. Let's see if I can get that right there. And on the top side, I think there's a seal. We're going to find out when we get underneath there, but it's not a good seal. So when you wash the car, water gets underneath this and it stays under there for a long time. If you saw my video of when I was doing the paint correction on this car for 4 days, every time I came by here with the buffer, water would seep out underneath here. So I know there's water trapped there. And I believe the holes that Ford drilled for these carbon fiber wings, they're raw holes, and there's no, paint on the metal on the holes in there. I don't know if you'll see in the video here, but there's water. As I just picked up that lid, I just washed this car today, and there's water coming out from underneath there. So we're going to take off these mounts and see what we find. I switched bits on the tool here. This is a star pattern, I think you call it, but there are 2 fasteners on the bottom side here. Oh, there's a lot of water that just ran out of there. Oh, that's awesome. Well, that was a lot of water. Like I said, I just washed this car a couple hours ago, an hour or 2 ago, and I'm going to show you all this water that just ran out. So as I loosened up these 2 screws here, a lot of water came out. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it all in the video here, but a lot of water through here, a lot ran down into here, pulled up down there, down the side of the car, and down there on the trim. So there is a lot of water being trapped under here. And if these holes are in fact just raw steel drilled, that's going to be a huge source of corrosion down the road. So we're going to solve that now. All right, as I started loosening these up, like I said, water came out, but the bracket's not loose. So there's probably a fastener underneath this plug, and there it is. So that's a socket, and I'm assuming this socket here in the owner's kit is for that. So the answer to that question is no. The socket included in the owner's kit is a 7mm, and this up here is a 10mm. As you're taking this nut off, be careful you don't drop it down inside the panel of the trunk lid. That'd be bad. Well, I was expecting the nut to come off, and that's not the case. So this all came out of the bottom. So it's basically a nut on a stud, and the whole stud unthreaded from the bottom of the mount. And I was able to just reach up on the other side, hold it in position, and then pull it out on with my fingers by feeding it through. So look at the hardware that came off. This is the mount, and as you can see, the bottom side, there's a big hollow area under there for water to get trapped. This is the bracket that's on the inside of the trunk lid to support the weight of, I guess, the torquing of the wing. But this is what that stud threads into there. And then on the bottom here, on these two holes here, is a couple of these small machine screws that have a hex head on them, or star head. Well, I can confirm that these are just raw drilled holes in the steel. And, there's even a little bit of water right there. But, yep, just raw drilled steel holes there. They didn't touch up with paint, and water's being trapped into there. So this will be a corrosion issue down the road. So make sure to remove your wing and hit that with some, touch-up paint to seal that raw steel. Well, the passenger side is coming apart differently. So the little nut on the end of that stud came out separately. As I was loosening it up, I checked, and sure enough, was coming out by itself. So I did end up using this plunger to reach in there and grab it to keep it from falling down inside the hollow panel here of the trunk lid. And then this was a bit more of a challenge because it's bigger and it's got a little bit more heft to it, trying to get that to come out, but without dropping in there. But I just kept, working this piece back and forth and pushing it towards the end, and I was able to grab it with my fingers then and pull it out. Well, the passenger side bracket is off, and as you can see, that stud stayed in the bracket. Here are the raw steel holes again. 1, 2, and 3. So I got to clean that area up, and I'm going to let it dry, because I just washed the car. And once it's dry, I'm going to put some paint on those surfaces to seal them up. So a closer look here. This hole here kind of has a rubber seal around it that's all kind of jacked, to be honest. This one up here has part of a rubber seal still in place. It's basically half there. And then this one down here didn't have any, but this fell out when I took the bracket off, so I can only assume that's the attempted seal around that hole. And I guess that's to try and keep water off of the bare steel, but obviously not working. So we're gonna have to come up with something better. The solution I came up with as far as the paint goes is I had some, this is a can of red, close enough because no one's ever going to see this. This is candy red metallic from my son's 2010 Mustang GT. But I just sprayed it in the cap, got out a small brush, and from the bottom side and the top side went around all the holes twice, and just put paint on all the raw steel. Made sure none of the paint was running down there on the surface of the trunk lid. That would have been bad. But no more raw steel. Gonna let that cure before I do any reinstall. I took a few hour break, which allowed the paint to dry and cure there. Went to the hardware store and was kind of looking at different ideas for this. I considered just filling that whole recessed area in there on the bottom with expanding foam. You need to use closed cell foam versus the open cell foam, which you see in the the yellow canisters, whatever. Open cell foam is not waterproof. Closed cell foam is tighter and more waterproof. And then you need to buy the gun and the canister, so that's more involved than I was thinking I wanted to get into. Then I looked at O-rings, just putting O-rings around those 3 bolt holes there. But in the end, I decided I'm just going to use 100% silicone. It's black silicone. And I am going to take and put essentially a bead around each of the 3 holes there. And I'm going to try and do a light bead around the outside without it, oozing all over the trunk lid. We'll see how well that works. I applied the silicone all the way around the outside, as well as around each of the 3 bolt holes. And we'll see how much of it oozes out. I'm sure I'll be fighting that battle, but if it doesn't work, I can always take it off and clean it up and come up with a plan B, or try a different application of that silicone. That actually went better than I expected. So I just put that light bead around the edge, like I said, or like you saw. And then once I press it in and tighten the 3 connectors down, the 2 screws and the stud, or the nut on the other side there, a little bit of it squeezed out, and then I just went around with some paper towels, initially dry, using my fingernail along the edge, cleaning that up, and then I used a little simple green and kind of cleaned up the area, followed by some detail spray, and it turned out well. Now this outside edge should be sealed once it's dry, but if water does get past that, there's another seal around the bolt holes, and then if it gets past that, at least the holes themselves are painted now. Working on the other side, I don't remember if I mentioned that the little tiny seal attempts around the bolts themselves, or the bolt holes. Some of it was gone, some of it was still there. I removed what was remaining there just so the silicone has a good surface to seal to all the way around. All right, so I got the silicone applied all the way around the edge of this one. This is the passenger side. And I'm gonna put it on. Hold these in place. I'll hold this brace in place with the 2 bolts. And gently set this against the bolts. Star pattern bit. Give it a couple screws. Now this is the side where the nut came off the stud on the bottom. So you got to put this spacer in there. And let's see if I can do this without dropping it inside the trunk lid. I think, yeah, I can get my fingers in there. And that's the 10mm socket. Not going too crazy tight. That is a lock nut, by the way, a nylon lock nut. Star pattern back on for these 2 guys. I think these are called torque bits. All right, and now I'll show you how the silicone kind of oozed out there a little bit before I cleaned it up. All right, this is before I clean up a little bit that oozed out around the edge. You can kind of see it there. And there's a little blob right there on the inside. But I'll get it all cleaned up looking good. Got the passenger side cleaned up. No ooze sticking out. I think that's going to work. I'll let that dry and then clean it up one more time when I'm all done. And really no reason why I can't put the wing back on now, so I got to put the plug back in the hole on this side, and then I'll put the wing back on. To reinstall the wing, just set it gently on the supports. And then there are just the 4 bolts. And sometimes the nuts stay attached for some reason. I'm not sure why or what's going on with that. Sometimes these little nuts stay attached, sometimes they come off. But right now 3 are attached and 1's loose. Got the wing reinstalled. So here are the 2 tools you're going to need. Or actually there's a few pieces of tools together here, but you've got a 8mm box head wrench that comes in the owner's kit. The Allen or hex key bit. I got the extension because you're dealing with kind of a tighter area up in there that you got to go up past for the head of the socket. And then also the included socket wrench. I did find out just by pulling on these, it feels like the nuts are stuck on there, but they're just kind of wedged into a detent. You just pull on them, they come out. But you got to remove the main ways, because if you're going to go into the track setting, which is this lower hole here, you're going to need to relocate the nuts on there. So if they're stuck up on the hole, just give them a yank and they come out. And then I just went snug. You know, I didn't go too crazy hard on these little bolts, because you are tightening it against you know, carbon fiber. So it's reinstalled. Well, that's it. Project complete. That's my 2020 carbon fiber track pack potential wing trunk lid corrosion issue, preventing it from becoming an issue before it becomes an issue. So yeah, just remember there's some raw steel drilled holes under there, and the way those mounts are set up, they trap water, and a lot of water. So you're going to probably want to address that sooner versus later to keep this from being a problem. Thanks for watching. See you next time.